today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to dive into a company. So important I have to put my glasses on. When I put my glasses on, I'm reading something important like specs, but this is way more important. We're diving into a company today that has collaborated with artists over the years such as Rush, Heart, Rascal Flatts, Tesla, Styx, Guthrie Govan, Darius Rucker, Daughtry, Theory of a Deadman, Green Day, Lifehouse, Rolling Stones, Johnny Highland, Aerosmith, Smashing Pumpkins, Greg Howe, Three Doors Down, and many others. But before we reveal who we're going to talk about, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. That way you know what we're up to. Your interaction helps us interact with great people in the industry. And today we are talking about a company that we think you should know, and that company is...
DLS Effects. So let's dive into it. We have a lot of pedals to share with you today. I want to start the story back in 1998. Dave Sestito, DLS Effects. Yes. His daughter comes to him and says, "Hey, can you make me a pedal that sounds like Korn?" And so he does. And that kind of gets him like, oh, thinking about pedals again. And he gets in his closet, and he pulls out his old Deluxe Memory Man, and it's broken. And he's like, oh, well, I could make one of these. 8 months later, he threw that prototype pedal in the trash on Christmas Day, Christmas morning.
Merry Christmas.
Finally gives up, throws it in the trash, and sets out on a redesign. And the redesign, I believe, becomes the Echo Master delay, which is used on, the Extraction?
Yeah.
Album by Greg Howe.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg Howe, Dennis Chambers, and Victor Wooten. Come on. So that pedal... I think then over time transforms into another chorus pedal, and well, it didn't transform it. He builds a chorus pedal after that, right? He hooked up with Music Toys back then. I think Music Toys was his first distributor. For anybody old enough to remember going online, and the big pedal retailer for boutique pedals back in the day was musictoys.com. You get it. If you remember that, you'll get the same nostalgic feeling that I get when I hear that. So, Music Toys. The first pedal then that we actually have, because we don't have that Echo Master delay. We don't have the first, I think it's called the Chorus Vib. We didn't have that one. I think there was 2 chorus pedals that we didn't have in the beginning. But we do have, Dave saw a need for a tap tempo and a delay pedal. So, the EchoTAP, DLS Effects, stereo, has a tap tempo, has 2 channels, so you could set up one channel with a fixed delay time. You get this cool knob here to get your delay time, and then you can press this and switch to channel B and then tap in your tempo on channel B. Pretty cool. I demoed this with an American Stratocaster. Sounds like this. So a couple of years ago, Pat and I interviewed Dave, and we'll try and put a card up here for that interview, but he tells a great story about that whole Music Toys time and stuff when Aerosmith reached out, like did a purchase order on Aerosmith letterhead that he wasn't really supposed to know about, but heard about through the grapevine. And so cool stuff happening there. A little bit later, so remember, we're 1998, all that's happening. 2004 comes around, and he builds the RotoSIM. And I'll put a picture of it. We don't have one. I'd like to have one. we'll come back to the roto pedal.
The Leslie feel.
Yeah, in a little bit.
Yeah.
But 2004, he builds the RotoSIM, which is a huge hit, and there's a whole long list of famous people that were using that pedal, just that pedal by itself. From 2004, we jump to 2007.
2007, which is past the 80s, but he built this beautiful Ultra Chorus II. It is 2 chorus pedals in one. I am currently using this on my board. I played it with the PRS Silver Sky that's right here. I kept the EchoTap on, and we were running stereo on that EchoTap between the Tyler and the Hot Rod Deluxe. And I'm not telling you right now, I have to make a confession. I'm 56 years old, and tonight was the first time I played a stereo and a delay in stereo. I'm sorry, a chorus and a delay in stereo.
At the same time.
Yes. And it was glorious, and it sounds like this.
That was 2007. Now the year's 2009. Dave puts out the VersaVibe, which is a vibe pedal, and it's really cool. And he has some of his own tweaks on there. And it took a little while for it to catch on, but then people started to realize, it doesn't always have to be the vintage vibe clone, that there can be some cool stuff happening. And I don't have a sound clip for that right now, but if you stick around later in the video, maybe there's something new that you want to check out. Now that takes us to 2010.
2010, apparently Brian Craddock from Daughtry changed my life, and I didn't know about it. He asked for a tap tempo in a tremolo. And so Dave made the tremolo, and it has a tap tempo in it. And we did a series about tremolos, and I had a Cesar Diaz pedal that didn't have any tap, and I learned how to work the push-pull. Then we got our hands on this, and now I can tap into the song. So for this clip, I kept that with the EchoTap, played it in stereo again, and then I had to grab this beautiful 335 and play those, and this is what I sounded like.
So the year is now 2011. Dave puts out the Chorus Waves. And if you look at this carefully, it's we feel like it's kind of half of the Ultra Chorus. And then remember back early days, there was 2 other chorus pedals. And if you look, they all have some similar features. One of the features that we found to be similar across the board, especially the two we have, is they just sound good. Yes. And so, again, this one's running stereo into that EchoTap and stereo out to the 2 amps, and it sounds a little bit like this.
So now the year is 2013, and some of the dealers approached Dave and said, why don't you build a drive? And the market's saturated with drives even then, right? But he decided to design the Reckless Driver, and some people like Frank Hannon from Tesla tried it out, actually shot a demo video for it. So I played the Reckless Driver, and now we've moved on to a newer iteration of delay from Dave that we love, this EchoTOUR. So I paired these two together with a 2003 Les Paul that's been lovingly tweaked by another Dave that we're affectionate about, and it's played through the Tyler in mono, and this is what I played. EchoTOUR enough. Right. Like that has become, that's the pedal that stays on the demo board here, and both of us are bummed about it because we both want to take it out. And when we have to make travel boards, sometimes both of us have been stealing it, and there could be a fight over it. Anyway, we're going to jump ahead 2 years and then back one. 2 years later, 2015, Alex Lifeson needs something done to his pedal, has some ideas, and the boost sustain pedal comes to be. If you look at Dave's website, there's another version, kind of the Reckless Driver, that was done specifically for him, and was used on that Rush tour that year. But we don't have one of those. So, but I wanted to mention it. Go check that out. We're going to jump back then 1 year. I think it's 2014. He comes out with the RotoSPIN. So the RotoSIM gets shrunk down, but it's not just, I don't think it's just shrinking down the RotoSIM. I think there's some changes and stuff. But you got a stereo rotary pedal here. I ran it in stereo. And I think it's just this pedal run into the Tyler. That's not yeah. So it's just this pedal into the Tyler and the Fender. And there's a little gain knob here, so you can turn the overdrive on. I did that, so you hear a little bit of sizzle under there. It's really a cool effect. It sounds a little bit like this. All right, so now it's 2021, and we've already talked about the EchoTOUR, and if you go back and listen to the clip where I paired it up with the Reckless Driver, I intentionally did some hard stops so you could hear what this was doing behind the Reckless Driver. Again, we cannot express enough our love for this particular pedal. That's 2021, but what's happened currently?
Yeah, so 2023 now, just a week or so ago, we got in the VersaVibe 2. And I have to admit, smaller enclosure. So you saw, like, some of these things were big.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of them were big. Then we went to, like, this form factor. I think this is what the tremolo is, right?
Yeah.
Tremolo's the same.
I feel like these are the same-ish.
You might go, well, that's too big. But I kind of like this form factor. But now we're shrinking it down a little bit more too. So kind of a standard box today. The VersaVibe 2. Boy, there's a lot going on here.
There is.
And you think I'd tell you about it, and we will in a video we're going to do on this. Tonight we just broke it out, and for the first time, we both did a clip for this one. So we're going to leave you with 2 clips from this. I started with a clean clip using that Les Paul straight into the pedal. There might have been a little bit of the EchoTOUR on the end.
All right, so you got to hear the VersaVibe sort of standing alone by itself. Clean, kind of a cool blues thing. I really thought it shined in what you did with that. But I wanted to pair it with Drive and a Strat. And again, we always talk about we're not certain people. I'm not Jimi Hendrix or anything like that, but played the middle position of a Strat and played it with the Reckless Driver, and I did this. So that's a quick overview of the history of DLS Effects. It could be wrong. We pulled a lot of that from his website. We also had that interview with him where he's telling the stories. Maybe go listen to that if you're interested in the historical part. What we are really interested in tonight is sharing with you the pedals that we've had. Really interesting how this went down. We had all of these pedals sitting here. We've been planning this, and the VersaVibe just all fell in place right at the right moment.
Probably next week we'll be recording the video for the Versa Vibe. So really excited to share that with you. And I think with that, it's final thoughts time.
Yeah.
So
I've learned a lot doing this YouTube channel for almost 5 years now, maybe somewhere around there. Almost 4.5, 5 years. And I think we're calling this You Should Know, because until we started on that Leslie sound, which Jason loves, Leslie pedals, I didn't use one, right? So one of the first people to engage with us in that was Dave, and he helped us out by sending us the RotoSPIN, which sort of got us on the DLS track, and then he agreed to the interview. We found out more about him, and as time has gone on, just to prove that I do like him, I'm clanking these around, but these two are like permanently on my board. This one I got maybe about a month ago, and I put it on and took it off just because I was just having trouble with my own footwork with this particular pedal. They are amazing sounding pedals. I love this. Again, we had a tremolo series that started with my Caesar Diaz Tremodillo. Love it. This pedal sounds great. It's got a lot of options. The tap tempo is what sold me on this in part, but the sound, right? If you're playing a Tremodillo, which you can cut the speed in half, you have a little control. This gave me almost infinite control over a tremolo.
It has some unique shaping capabilities too. Right,
it really does. And tonight, for the first time, we engaged the ping pong effect because I've never run it stereo before. So that was the first one that made the board. And I always joke that, Jason didn't do a sound sample on this tonight because I'm not sure he's ever really gotten to play it because I stole it immediately. And then when this lovely piece came in, I also took this. And I love this because it's 2 chorus pedals in one. And chorus made a comeback, I think. Thank you, John Mayer. I'm not sure. But it's really cool because 2 chorus pedals, you can individually control the rate. And this lovely delay, when I run it in mono, it still makes it spread really wide. So I love this chorus. I love that tremolo. I didn't dislike this EchoTap, but those 2 are permanently on my board. I mean, I'm a huge fan of DLS. I have not auditioned the Reckless Driver over with the rig that I play in all the time yet, but I'd love to take it over and see what I can do with it. But he's been so gracious to the channel, such a nice guy, builds amazing things, and so I love it just by showing that they're on the board. And we've been helped out with some of these pedals, and we've scoured reverb and other things to get other pedals ourselves. We paid for some of these ourselves,
right, and bought some directly from Dave too,
right.
So. Yeah, where to start? So yeah, the tremolo pedal I've never got a really chance to play with because he's a tremolo guy. I know that sounds good. He had it on his board for a couple of weeks before I realized he'd swapped it out with a DS pedal. I know there's some interesting shaping capabilities there. Definitely check out that tremolo. I recommend that one all the time. The Leslie, the RotoSPIN. You had this on your board for a while too. I did. Prior to the chorus pedal, I think.
Yeah.
And then I had you bring it back for a different video we were doing. And anyway, has shown up on many videos at the end, like in the end jams and stuff. Sometimes like if we're demoing this pedal, you're playing rhythm or I'm playing rhythm, we'll grab the RotoSPIN and throw on, and it always sounds amazing in that, whatever you call it, in that context, I guess. So, the DLS Effects EchoTOUR. Every board I have built to go out and do some things recently, not the board that's permanently over there, but if the travel board, if you will.
Hence the Velcro.
Right, I keep throwing that on. And we try not to get into all the individual features, but I will say this: it has this little echo tone down here that you can brighten the repeats up or darken the repeats, and it's such a simple thing, but with the analog repeats and that, it's beautiful. All right. We're gushing. We could go on and on. Get to know. You should know DLS Effects. You should know them. Go buy the EchoTOUR right away.
That's right. $149. It's crazy.
Right. For an analog delay. And check out the other pedals. You really should get to know Dave. Dave's a great guy. We love what he's doing. We'd like to thank Dave for all his support of the channel. He doesn't know we're doing this.
Right, he didn't ask us to do it.
Right, yeah, he didn't ask. He knows we're going to do something because I reached out and asked him a question about something, but He didn't ask us to do this. We're not getting, I'm sure he wouldn't pay us to do this. We're doing this because we really appreciate the products over there. So check out DLS Effects. And we'll take a moment.
Yes.
We're rusty. Had a week off. Always take a moment. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for clicking the notification bell. Anytime you interact with the channel, it really helps us out and helps us form relationships with people like Dave Sestito from DLS Effects. And with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Especially when you have a tremolo tap tempo.